Hello, everybody, and welcome. This is One Day Today. We are on episode 142, and so glad to have you with us. I am very excited about both of our guests we have today, which you'll meet in a moment. But first off, we'd just like to say hello. It's been a little while since we've seen you, since you've seen us, since we've seen each other. But this space, this stage is since its inception, since the beginning. When anybody hear about something called the pandemic, I don't know if anybody else remembers or experienced that, but when we first had this, it was a pivot, like a lot of us did during the pandemic when the world shut down. And what do we do? Where am I going? What am I doing? What am I doing here in this world, in this life? And it originally we were planning on having a physical event and in-person event. Remember those? Remember having in-person events? Well, we're going to have a big holiday celebration event for one day, and what our mission and vision is here. And then the world shut down, and and at first, like a lot of people, we were like, what are we doing? Like, what we had plans, and then life happened, and we decided to create this virtual stage, as a platform for leaders, for creative leaders, for spiritual leaders, for community leaders who are committed to something greater than themselves, to share their unique gifts. I would assert, no matter who you are, where you're from, what you look like, what you believe, what color, what size you are, your politics, your gender, your et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you have something unique, something beautiful, something that can enliven, that can uplift, that can empower others. You have something unique that can, that can lift someone up of what they're facing and what they're dealing with, and empower them to shine and to share and unleash their unique gifts. And that's really what this stage is about, is, us daring to have the courage to share, what we've had to face in our life, or what we're facing in our lives, to overcome, the dark night of the mind. We had a guest correct us that, the saying is dark night of the soul. And I don't think there's a dark night of the soul. I think there's a dark night of the mind, which allows the bright day of the soul. And that's what this stage is about. It's when we have the courage to be vulnerable, to really be honest with ourselves and others about what we faced, and like about the deepest, scariest moments in our life. That gives us power over what we faced, and but also gives others the courage to do the same. And that's what this is all about, and that's why I'm excited to have all of you with us. But please first let me welcome and say hello to our co-host Matthew, who's not in Hawaii, I'll say this time. Where are you? Where are you this time? I'm always jealous that you're in Hawaii, but this time I'm actually not, because you're not in Hawaii.
I'm not in Hawaii. I'm still in a very beautiful place, though. I honestly had forgotten how lovely the mountains are around Salt Lake, and so I'm about 30 minutes south of Salt Lake in a little town called Harriman, and it's been like I've only been here for a couple of weeks. I'm only going to be here for a few more days. I really miss the ocean. I really, really miss the ocean, but it is beautiful here, and slowly making my way to Boulder, which is where I'll be for probably the next year or so. So you won't have to be quite as jealous, just slightly jealous, because instead of mountains and ocean, all I have are mountains now.
Yeah, well, it's a spectrum. Well, would you like to say anything before we bring in Cheri? I'm really excited to hear Cheri's story. Should we just jump in?
Yeah, let's just jump in. Like I feel like we've been away for a long time, and that a lot of the themes that used to come up on the show seem to be shifting. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of want to see. I just want to see where this goes today. I'm actually really curious.
Totally.
So on that note, let's welcome Cheri to the stage.
Please welcome Cheri.
Aloha, Cheri.
Aloha, gentlemen. Thank you for having me today. I'm so happy to be here. I could have swam my way in, but we're not in Hawaii. So.
Next time we'll do that.
Do you remember back in the day, if you tried to actually map Google Maps from San Francisco to Hawaii, it actually told you to swim?
Yes.
Yeah.
And GPS first came out. Well, if you drive this far, and I'm like, okay, for those of us that are old enough to remember the old Tiger Shark cars.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We just aged ourselves, gentlemen. but I'm Asian. I'll hold mine well, I promise. Yes, good times.
Good times.
Well, welcome, Cheri. It's so good to have
Thank
you.
you.
And if you're ready, we're gonna have you take off and take us on a journey. But please welcome to the stage, everybody, Cheri, and the stage is yours, Cheri.
Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. I'm Cheri Sotelo. I am the founder of the Psych series and the creator of the Faces of Illness. Today, I originally came on with one message that's actually part of a greater message that I tend to give people. And that is the knowing the difference between intention and action and how to become a more productive being every single day. But so much of that comes from what I'm probably best known for. It's not my one-liners as a comedian, I promise, maybe just a little bit. But I am a mental health clinician that also works in medical adversity and working towards creating a connect the dot type system that can help individuals ease the pain of just living in these bodies that we have that don't always want to cooperate with us. And so what I've done so much over the last, especially the last year and a half, is come together to bring a very, very beautiful project called The Faces of Illness. And with that, it is a fantastic, wonderful book of amazing individuals that have decided that it was okay and it was time to own those illnesses and own those diagnoses and say, you know what? I am beautiful no matter what I carry with me and no matter how I may feel inside, because I'm stronger than that and I own them and it doesn't own me. And so that's really where I've come to this place in my life after being stricken with severe illness that included genetic conditions, but being told in 2016, hey, by the way, Cheri, we have some news to tell you. You may want to settle your affairs because you may not see Christmas. And that was in August of 2016. And I tell you, folks, that everything changed in that moment. How can we go from this existing and doing, and I was at the height of everything in my life and in my world, and I thought the intentions I had and the actions I was taking was truly about living. And I found out, you know what? I was just doing. I was doing phenomenal things, don't get me wrong. Big, beautiful houses, wonderful flights here and there, fly to New York, catch a show, fly to Hawaii, catch the sand, fly to Portland and Seattle and catch the food and catch sunsets. Amazing things. But I wasn't living. And it wasn't until somebody told me I was dying that I understood what it was to live. And so I bring to all of you here today this notion of, are you truly living or are you existing? Not that either is bad, but more that we can do more. Our intentions to do and provide for others and to give back to our communities, but don't forget, give back to yourself, sometimes gets pushed aside in this wonderful world of adulting that we are all here doing day in and day out, but we don't necessarily enjoy those things. Those are the tasks that we have to endure every single day. But what would it do for you if you can just add one more thing that makes you smile? Maybe not on the outside and on the inside. It's here we are. Let's just have this moment in time to say, what is it that I need? What is it that I can do for myself? What intentions can I put forward? And then take those action steps that are going to go with it. There's 10 steps to doing all of these things. And first one is accepting your humanness. The fact that we're going to make mistakes, that we're going to be opportunistic at times, that we're going to fall in love and we may have heartbreak, that there's going to be times that we become ill or we maybe made the wrong turn down life. But guess what? It doesn't have to be the end of the road. You detoured. We like off-roading. There's plenty of people in the Jeeping world that would agree with me in that moment. So what are you going to do? After you learn to accept your humanness and understand that it's okay to be okay and it's okay to not be okay, but that the next choice is yours, then you go with that and you set that foot forward and you make that opportunity open up and present itself to you. If you had this moment in time to ask, just internally, if I could do anything I wanted, what would I do right now? Well, take this next couple of seconds and ask, what would you do? Guess what? There's nothing that holds you back minus finances for a lot of us. But there's nothing that can hold you back from how you speak to yourself, because you own those words in your head. That is your voice up there. And you don't have to be a prisoner to any of those thoughts. Much like the people in my book, In the Faces of Illness, once upon a time, we lived under these diagnoses that said, oh, we're going to be sick and we're going to have this pain and we're going to be in wheelchairs and we're going to maybe lose our eyesight or we're going to lose the use of our hands. I've had all of those told to me. My hands are fine. My sight is fine. I walk as well as I possibly can. And I accept the fact that I set my intention to say, I'm not going to give in and I'm not going to give up. Nothing is going to stop me. Only I can stop me. And it's really hard to stop someone that's 5'9", black hair, that rides a Harley and scuba dives. So you're going to find me on the road or underwater, but I'm going to keep going and going and going, because there's 3 things that I've learned over these years, and especially in the face of my own illness. There's 3 things I don't fear. I don't fear death. I don't fear people, and I don't fear losing. Why? Because those things don't define me, much like a diagnosis or diagnoses doesn't define me. And so I ask all of you to please take the time to appreciate who you are and what you can do for not just yourself, but as a reflection upon others of the beauty that you find and the beauty that you can find in being your most genuine, your most authentic, your most compassionate, caring individual self. We shouldn't have to be selfish about that. Please, I'm asking you not to be selfish. Share these things. A smile doesn't cost anything to anyone, but it may be that one smile that changed somebody's life. It may be that one smile that gave somebody a ray of hope, but it helps them feel acknowledged. This is the moment that we say we made a difference in somebody's life. We matter. In fact, you matter. All of you matter every day. And if nobody's told you yet today or this week or this month or even this year, you matter. I offer with everything that I do to please reach out and contact me if you have these questions of how can I take my life to a different level? How can I come to that next step when I feel stuck and I don't know which way to turn and I don't know how to find hope and I don't know how to find peace with some of the things that are ailing me? I want to heal that mind. I want to heal that body. And I want the two to come together so that I can begin living every single day the way that I want to. You'll see right at the bottom of the screen here, you'll see the psychseries.com. I also have thefaceofillness.com. Find me on social media at the Psych Series or the Faces of Illness. I'm always here. Everything, we know this, we all know this so well, goes to cell phones. I can be reached at any time. I'm here for you. And that's why coming on today with the One Day Movement was such an important factor for me, because everybody's story can help somebody else's story. And we are one big book. We are in one big planet. We that just came back and bounced back from a recovery of this pandemic that we never would have expected. And so let's link arms together. Let's heal one another. Let's attempt to heal this globe from the most awesome place that we possibly can. Every single moment is going to be the moment that you'll never regret. When I say make every minute count, please make every minute count, because we never get that one back. And so I thank you for listening today. It's been a wonderful opportunity to give you that long and short of who I am and where I've been without getting into too many of the details, because I know we have another guest here today that has just an awesome story herself, and we have to hear from our co-hosts again. So my name is Cheri Sotelo with the Psych Series and the Face of Illness. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Cheri, for sharing. It's so inspiring hearing you, the words you say and you speak, but just also your essence of who you're being. It's just, it's really inspiring and empowering just to hear you share your story. And I love what you said is you own the words that are in your head, and that gave me the chills. Something that I forget. I think we all forget, but I love that, because we have so many words going on up here, rattling left and right, and most of the time, I don't know how many thoughts, 30,000 thoughts we have a day. We have thoughts going all over the place, and we don't remember. I don't remember a lot of the time that, you know, I own those thoughts. I maybe the thoughts aren't me all the time, but like I am the space in which those thoughts arise, and
Yes.
I can hear and I can tell how you've fully owned those words and fully owned those thoughts, and it's just really, it lights me up hearing you speak about it, because it's contagious. Who you're being.
I am so glad, but not pandemic style. Well, maybe pandemic style and that kind of contagion. And yes,
this idea that like the most insidious virus on the entire planet is an idea,
yes,
right? And so like to be that idea that actually creates positive and helpful change and brings joy and grace and ease, like, yeah, go for it. Keep doing it. Keep going for it.
absolutely.
Be that pandemic all the way.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah, I can do that. I can be the panda. I can definitely be the panda. I got that half Asian piece. I can use chopsticks.
Yeah.
But you know, there's nothing more powerful than the words that we speak to ourselves every single day. And the fact that most people forget, if you don't want those words up there, don't put them up there. They're yours. They're in your control every single moment. You've been empowered all of this time and never realized it. Most people don't realize it. Just like that light at the end of the tunnel, that light belongs to somebody else. We have flashlights, turn them on. If we want to dance in the dark, let's dance in the dark. If we want to decorate the walls, we'll decorate the walls. And when we get to that end of that tunnel and see that other light, great. But in the meantime, let's live while we're here.
Yeah.
We don't have any time to waste, folks.
Yeah, you're so funny. Like you said, like I know that we don't have a lot of time to go into the details of the story, but like I want to dive into at least some of them really quick,
Sure.
because like it feels like there's a lot of depth there. So can I start with just a simple, not so simple question?
Absolutely, that's my life.
Like, what? And there may not be just one thing, but just sitting with it right now, when you look back at after you received that diagnosis and the days, weeks, months that followed, was there a point where you can identify a major shift and you actually started feeling that the possibility of that diagnosis diminishing?
When I first got diagnosed, and of course, you know, I went through my whole trials and tribulations. I was actually in the middle of IVF and I was carrying twin boys, and it led to me losing my twins and feeling like everything was lost and everything was just gone in that moment. So I rebuilt myself from the ground up and said, whatever time I have left, I'm going to make the most out of it. So got rid of the 4,300 square foot house, the Expedition, the Harley, the Corvettes, everything's gone. Liquidated it all. I'm going to travel, baby. I'm going to do this, because I became upset with myself that I spent all of these years, 35 years or so, 36 years of my life doing for others and forgetting to do for myself. Not that I regret doing for anyone at all, but understanding that no amount of money could buy my life back. No amount of material items can bring joy back to my face. So I sought that if I was going to have my life taken essentially from me, then I'm going to go out the best way I know how to. And that was great, because it led to research. It led to speaking with doctors, speaking to holistic practitioners, speaking to people that work with essential oils, Eastern medicine, all of these different things. And what I was able to compile, and even having the opportunity to talk to Dr. Furman himself and get a protocol from Dr. Furman in person at a vegan event here in Las Vegas, the ironic timing. And I went in for my scans and they're like, we don't know where all these masses are going, but we can't find them anymore. And, oh, that chain of things that was, well, that's kind of gone too. And you're not dying. And I'm like, I'm not dying and I have nothing left material wise. And you know what? I don't care. I don't care about those things anymore. That was that moment that said, it took dying to begin living. And so my appreciation for every person before every material thing is so precious to me. And so when I say that I appreciate you, it's wholeheartedly I appreciate you, and I appreciate what you guys do, which is why I made it a point to want to come on here and spread the word and invited other people to tell their stories, because I've come across so many stories in my 20 plus years of my career. And thank you. You guys matter. These are the moments that change my life.
Yeah. There's one thing in there that really stood out to me, and it's something that I had to come to find for myself as well. Just out of curiosity, how does this resonate? Because for me, what it came down to was, since I hadn't actually chosen to live, I was subconsciously killing myself unknowingly.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I had a fun life.
Yeah.
I live in Las Vegas. So yes, no, I was not serving myself, my body, my spirit, my mind. I was serving the community for their needs. But yes, I was absolutely etching away at each day of my life that I could have been living.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you're pointing to is what you first said when you started out was, are you living or are you just existing?
Mm-hmm.
And it really comes, this is a theme that we've talked a lot in the space, is, living by choice versus living by chance.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I almost feel like, and I include myself in this, is a lot of time we don't realize, we don't even come to think about that. Am I living just as an effect of my circumstances, an effect of my thoughts, my feelings, things that just happen regardless of what I say? Or am I waking up today and declaring, this is who I am, this is what I'm committed to? And, and I really hear you've come full circle in that, getting that diagnosis. It allowed you to kind of drop all the barriers of what was in the way of you living. And my only question I have is, so what do you say to somebody who's still on the cusp of existing, have a desire to live, beyond just their, existing, but somebody who's looking and doesn't know how, and is willing to do whatever it takes? What do you say to that person who wants to live and stop just existing?
So there's a couple of things. One, my clients hear me say this all the time, that when you're stuck, tell yourself, this is the choice I make every day. Remember, power is in your hands, power is in your voice, power is in your head. Do what you will with it. So this is a choice I make every day. Now, if tomorrow I choose something different, then I choose something different, and I'm okay with that too. And more to the other end of how to, I don't know if you can come back to that second part of your question, because it was kind of a long question at first.
Yeah, well, I think you answered it, but what do you say to somebody who's on the cusp of, intellectually knows they want to live, but maybe they feel stuck. Maybe their circumstances, maybe they're dealing with something that's, they're dealing with the trauma, or they're
just
scared.
scared.
Alone,
Yeah.
I often hear, I'm trying. It's like, there's a difference between trying and there's doing. Oh, but I know what I should do. I know now do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There is nothing more than just actually doing it. I mean, if Nike could have exemplified that phrase any better, that is literally what it is. It's when you don't know, ask, because you don't know what you don't know. Find out. Don't try to wait for an answer to fall on your laps. Do something about it. If you want something different, you have to do something different. But it will always be the word do. You must do, not you must try, or you must wish, or you must hope. It's what are you willing to do?
I love that. And it reminds me of wise words from Yoda, of all people, is do or do not. There is no try.
Absolutely.
I think
I tapped my inner Yoda.
Yeah, exactly. I love
There's something else that stands out in that. I wonder if you could speak on, because like we've been talking about choosing to live, and I didn't even realize I had a choice to choose to live my life until I was in my 30s, right? Like, and it took multiple suicide attempts and many, many other things to get to that point of realizing that, okay, if I'm not going to kill myself, then by default, I'm choosing to stay here.
Uh-huh.
And if I'm choosing to stay here, then what am I doing, like living the life that everyone else thinks I have to live? And why am I not living my life? And so that's like, that was kind of this aha moment. But then I also realized, but I'm not even sure if I know what a choice is. And I had to learn to distinguish for myself the difference between a choice and a decision. And I wonder if you've had a similar experience and what your insight on that is.
How many of us understand that when we make choices, good or bad, it comes with a level of anxiety? Typically because somewhere within that self-talk, we give that statement of fact, sort of opinion, perception, emotion. So when you're coming to this pinnacle moment of how am I going to choose this for myself, or I have a choice or I don't have a choice, it's what does that self-talk say? What is it that is holding you back? Because again, this is where the voice in your head is yours and yours alone. The words you speak are yours and yours alone. So even I, as a clinician, cannot walk somebody out of that deep, dark despair. However, I can show them a framework to speak to themselves that will allow them to take that baby step and then that next baby step. It's when we speak to ourselves in this from this very neutral place, the going from the I'm never going to make it. I can't figure out anything. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm just such a mess. I just want to give up, to a very neutral, fact only statement of, I don't know what to do right now because I haven't learned how to yet. Keeping our statements void of emotion when we're still trying to rebalance ourselves allows us to take a direction. So this is the middle of the seesaw. We are neither negative nor overly positive, because if we're overly positive, a lot of the times this is where we set ourselves up for failure. I'm going to do this great thing today and I'm going to accomplish that task. And then something out of our control, which usually that's the way it goes, happens. And then boom, disappointment. How about stay right in that middle and let's see what happens? We can't future forecast anything. So when we give ourselves that opportunity of leniency and gentleness and the calm that we have to create within ourselves, we're going to do that not from the emotional stance that allows us to guide a lot of our choices that we make, but from that neutral stance of what are my facts? Because how many of us can argue fact? Like anxiety and depression, it's this feedback loop of information that goes over and over. Why am I doing this? What is this about? Typically, listen to what's going on up there. It's questions. Guess what? Answer the questions. When you answer the question, the feedback loop stops.
Could you put that into an example? Like, do you have a personal example of that?
Oh, I have tons and tons of examples, both mine and clients and otherwise. So I had this whole feeling of anxiety that was leaving me in, I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I doing this? Why am I really doing? What am I going to do with this thing, this book? What am I going to do with my practice? What am I going to do? Okay. And it started to eke out of my body. It started sending all of these rapid fire nervous system, send the body tingling, makes me feel fatigued, don't have an appetite, the heart palpitations, and I already have a heart condition. So that really gets exacerbated during anxious moments. And I laughed at myself because I stopped in the middle of the living room. And I'm like, Cheri, come on, you do this for a living. You've done this for 20 years. Answer the question. Stop, look around. What is it that's really going on? What are you stressed over? And okay, what am I going to do with my book? Great, I'm going to write out a plan. I'm going to do this and this and this and this. And oh, why is my stomach turning so much? Have I eaten? No, I haven't eaten. Oh, that would probably be the first response. How about food? Food is good. And it starts like that, as I broke down myself in that anxious moment and then feeling hopeless and helpless. And this wasn't long ago. And I even wrote myself a little note, because this visual component that we can go back to, it's literally, instead of playing mental gymnastics of having all this all go through, pluck it out of your head so you can look at it. It's much easier to sort things on paper than it is to sort it in your head when you have 500 things of adulting to do. So,
Minimum, yeah.
yes. And so I gave myself the opportunity and the grace and the gentleness to come out and go, I need to stop this. Why? Because I've spent 2 hours with unanswered questions that took me 2 minutes to answer. Inefficiency is not my forte. I don't like it, because then I lose those minutes. And my tagline has always been, make every minute count, because we never get that one back. Well, I want 118 minutes back. I can't get them back, but I know what to do next time so I don't lose those minutes.
Yeah. Cheri, thank you so much for sharing
You're
your
welcome.
insight and your wisdom, and it's so powerful to hear you speak. And I want to hear more. I would love to have you back, because I feel like
Absolutely.
we barely
Anytime.
brushed the surface of what you who you are and what you're up to and what you have to share. And I'm just really inspired by you and your compassion and your strength.
Thank you.
It's really powerful. So thank you so much, Cheri, for being with us.
I appreciate both of you.
Right back at you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And very much looking forward to hearing your entire story next time. We'll see if we can't give you a bit more time to actually share the gritty details. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love it. Anytime.
Right. Cool. Until next time.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll check back in with Cheri in a bit.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think it's a good time now to bring in Alexi. 1 second here. Let's bring in Alexi. Here we go. There you are. All right. Please. Well, first off, that was amazing. I feel like we could have talked to Cheri for hours, but fortunately we don't have hours. So I want to bring in our next guest, who I'm very excited to have as well. Please welcome everybody to the stage, Alexi Bracey. Hi, Alexi. Welcome.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for being here.
Well, thank you. My pleasure. Absolutely.
Well, I am excited to have you, and just excited to hear what you have to share. So we're going to just jump right in, if that's all right with you. Does that sound good?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So,
right. The stage is yours, Alexi.
Yeah. So Cheri's story is somewhat similar to mine, but I'm approaching it from a different perspective. So I just like to share my story, which is a story of resilience and transformation wrapped in joy in the face of adversity. So I was at midlife when the phone rang that will change anybody's life. And the voice at the other end said, "You have cancer. We want to book you for your surgery." Silence filled the room as I absorbed the weight of those rooms. But I knew in that moment that I was going to find a way. I was clueless, but I knew I would be victorious. And so for months, I immersed myself at libraries and bookstores and learning all I could about health and healing. And I embraced a plant-based diet with the power of nature's bounty. And a year later, without any medical intervention, drugs, or surgery, I stood victorious, cancer-free. So cancer had saved my life, but it also had gifted me with a new purpose. So I switched hats from a traditional chef to one of a plant-based chef, and I continued to learn, teach, and inspire many people on their health journey, using root cause resolution as my basis in functional medicine. But life had more challenges for me, and as a result of an accident-related injury, I fell and shattered my femur, which resulted in ending my career as a chef. So what was I going to do? So I embraced on a year-long program learning about emotional health, resilience, overcoming some of my challenges, but I wasn't really going anywhere. So then, again, fate intervened, and I was privy to take a quiz to determine what my values were, and that's when the light came on. My values, one of them was to bring joy. But how was I going to manifest this joy in mission happiness? Because that's what came to my mind, mission happiness. And as fate would have it, one more time, I was accepted into a Happy for No Reason facilitator program. And so perfect segue for my mission, happiness. And so I could share stories that how bringing joy also came into my life. There's a story, a YouTube I saw many years ago of a server, a barista, serving coffee on Christmas Eve in an airport. And she's very vibrant and vivacious and engaging. And when asked why she's so congenial serving coffee at an airport on Christmas Eve, she said, "I'm not serving coffee, I'm pouring happiness into people's lives." So for me, then, happiness, one smile at a time. And so many pieces were falling into place. And then also another key part in my life was I had over the years gained a reputation for putting a chuckle into people's hearts by approaching them at dog parks, grocery stores, ATM machines, and sharing a joke. Why a joke? Because behind every face there is a story of adversity, of tragedy, of grief. And so for 2 brief minutes, I had a captive audience. They laughed out loud. It fed my soul, but more importantly, it lowered their cortisol, the stress hormone, and raised the endorphins, the feel-good hormones in their brain. And scientifically, laughter has been shown to promote longevity. So I didn't want to be a stand-up comedian. So this mission, happiness, as an ambassador of happiness, really fit into place because of my background with the cancer victory, and I've also been known as a dementia prevention expert. I started marrying the two together. And so now I'm promoting happiness to anybody that wants to empower themselves on a joyful journey, but specifically people who are bouncing back after a cancer diagnosis or parents that have children who have been diagnosed with cancer and they need some direction. So I invite people to come on this journey with me because I'm promoting happiness, the positivity. I don't want to go anywhere where it's negative, and it's all based on lifestyle habits and other factors. For example, our happiness levels are determined 50% by genes, 40% by habits, and 10% by lifestyle circumstances. We have 60,000 new thoughts every single day, and 90% of them are negative. So they are happiness robbing. So I focus on the positivity on a journey. You embrace your challenges, wrap them around joy, because there's always something to be learned, to be gained. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Thank you, Alexi, for sharing. It's really powerful that how you found that within yourself. That value and commitment to bring joy to yourself and others. And the first question that kind of comes to me is, how did you find it in yourself that joy was that value for you? Like where
Well,
did that?
because I like to tell jokes to people, and then that story that the woman in the coffee shop said, I'm pouring happiness into people's lives, and how this all happened or started years ago. When I worked as a chef, I used to freelance and work at different fishing lodges. I'm in Canada, across the different provinces. The more remote, the better. Whether it was fly in by float plane or barge or whatever, I just liked that remoteness, seeing the stars at night, and there wasn't Starbucks around the corner, and there weren't all these power boats. And so this one lodge, I worked there for 4 years, and the repeat guests, 90% of them. And some of these guests were now bringing their grandsons. So how they even held a fishing pole was beyond me. But after dinner was served, or while dinner was being served, I would go out and talk to them. Well, what am I going to talk to them about? Fishing? No. So I started telling jokes. And so every year when they'd come back, they go, "Oh, Alexi, do you have jokes?" And so I just started accumulating these jokes. So it just sort of happened. It just happened. That's all I can say. And I just so enjoy doing it. I mean, there's little circumstances throughout the day that you can just share a little bit of joy into people's lives, because like I said, you don't know what's going on behind their face, because everybody has a story. So I have 2 dogs. I'm walking my dogs and people go, "Oh, your dogs are so beautiful." And I say, "Yeah, it runs in the family." So they laugh, or they're petting the dogs. And I go, "If I get on all fours, will you pet me too?"
Oh,
Just a little thing that you can say. Robin Williams said it so so beautifully. He said, I don't know how much of an impact I've had in this world, but I do know I made a few people happier. And for that, I'm as rich as I ever need to be.
Mm.
Mm.
So,
It's beautiful, and what you're speaking to to me it sounds like context of life, because what you were sharing about the woman who who did coffee, sold coffee, but poured happiness into people's lives. There's you could take two people with the same circumstances, where they both are working at a coffee shop, but one's like, I work at a coffee shop, and maybe are in a monotonous grind of like, don't really see it as an opportunity to pour happiness to people's lives. But it's ultimately a choice to see that we all have that ability, no matter what we do, what our career is or job is, we can choose to pour happiness into people's lives. It is ultimately a choice regardless of our circumstances, and that's what you are taking, and you're bringing it in every space you exist. I can hear your commitment to bringing laughter and bringing joy to people, and
yeah,
it's
I know.
beautiful.
Yeah, a great example, like I said, 50% of your happiness level is genetic. So, a grandfather is committed to take his 4-year-old granddaughter for Sunday afternoon drives for ice cream and cookies. And so, one particular Sunday, he's not feeling well, so he asks grandma to take their granddaughter. And so, the two of them off they go and come back after a few hours. And she goes running up to her grandfather's room, and grandpa's still in bed. And grandpa says, so, how was that? And she says, we didn't see any tree huggers, horses, asses, sons and bitches. All grandma did was wave and smile. So one does it one way and one does it the other way. So which one do you remember as a child?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have another guest that comes on occasion who pointed out something to me that really blew my mind, and it speaks to what you're speaking of. By the time I'll have to look up the exact statistic because I don't remember the numbers, but it's something to the effect of by the time a child is 12 years old, he or she has heard the words don't, can't, do not, no, something like 50,000 times.
That's right.
Whereas they've only heard the words do, yes, that's great, maybe 2,000 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
We've been conditioned to blame, shame, and complain.
Yeah.
I mean, when somebody calls you up, what's the first thing out of their mouth? I flunked my test. The car's not working. I have a doctor's appointment. We didn't sell the house. They don't share the good stuff. It's always negative stuff. So now when my friends call, I say, good news first, please. People are complaining about the weather. They're complaining about the cost of groceries. Be grateful that you've got the money for it. We need the rain. Just people, and they're complaining, like we eat, not just with our mouth, we eat with our ears, we eat with our eyes, we eat with our nose. Media, movies, songs, videos, you're absorbing all this negativity. So put aside all that negative and focus on positive things. I've got 12 steps that people can do as a daily habit, and they're very easy. Just, we've become so conditioned that everything is so negative because good news doesn't sell. That's for sure. It always has to be doom and gloom. But, focus, surround yourself with positive people, uplifting music. Because when you're negative, you suppress your energies. And it has been scientifically shown that happy people are healthier people, less cancer, less heart disease. So raise that frequency, and it's all 40% of it is habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes. And like, I would even invite people to think about what they believe matters.
Mm-hmm.
Really think about that. Like, what is it that you want to watch the news for? Why do you think it matters? What matters about it to you? And really drill down on like what is your motivation for actually keeping yourself in those negative places?
That's very true. Yeah, then, do you want to share that negativity, the latest news with somebody else? What's the point,
Yeah. What are you getting out of it?
Yeah.
Is the big question. There's another question, and we talked about this before we brought both of you on, how we don't plan these things, and yet somehow it magically works out. And here we have two amazing women who both survived cancer of some sort through their own volition, like actually changing their lives and their world. So I'm curious, and I'm going to bring Cheri back on in a minute, so I want her to answer this as well. When you first got your diagnosis, what was it like? What was it that made you stand up and say, no, I do not accept this?
There was that when I remember I still had the receiver to my ear, and I said, thank you. I remember this distinctly. I knew in my heart of hearts I was going to beat it. I had no idea how, but this little voice inside of me was saying, I'm going to beat it. That's all I can say. It was very strong, very powerful. And I mean, I remember that like it just happened 1 minute ago. So that, I don't know, that drive to live, drive to, how do people succeed? That drive to succeed, that drive to win, that drive to stay alive. I don't know what it is. I don't know.
What else has that little voice told you?
Intuitively, definitely that bringing joy is without a doubt my mission. I just come alive when I think about it. And I've said for several years now, when I die, when people come to my wake, the cost of admission is they have to come with a joke. Positive news, not, oh, she did this and that. Just share joy. Just share joy. People, I did a 1 week workshop many years ago where we had to go to a grave site and find a name that was very similar to yours or you resonated with. And you physically laid at this grave site and pretended you had died. And what are people saying about you as they're, putting the dirt on as the casket's being lowered. So, I can ask people, what legacy are you going to leave? What do you want people to be, or to remember you for?
I want to do that exercise. I've done something similar, but that actually sounds like a really lovely one. I want to go do that.
Yeah, it was really something else, I tell you.
Yeah. So let's bring Cheri back in. Answer the question.
Yeah. Okay, Abram, you're gonna have to do that because I still, for some reason, I can't add or remove people to the stream anymore. I don't know why.
No problem. Well, welcome back, Cheri. Long time no see.
I missed you.
We missed you as well.
I'll work on my aim. Don't worry.
Welcome back. Real quick, I want to throw the same question to you that I just threw to Alexi, which is, when you got your diagnosis, what was it that you realized, no, like I don't accept this? What happened?
Remembering my grandmother, I took care of her when she had multiple myeloma. So it was her fifth and final cancer. And she beat the odds. She had 6 months and we did 4.5 years. But her friend, who also had the same rare cancer that all got diagnosed at the same time, went on 14 plus years. I lost contact after her 14-year mark. And it's like, no, nothing's going to take me down. It's not by somebody else's choice. So I'll do what I have to do and let's see how it goes. And so much like Alexi, it's the learning. It's amazing how we can heal ourselves. Our bodies are beautiful things. And I knew this having gotten through all of my medical clearance to do my IVF in my best physical shape. I did everything to make sure I was optimal. So I know the power that I had in that moment to say, well, I'm going to change this and I'm going to change that. And well, they said I can't see Christmas and it's August and that's my favorite holiday. Nobody gets to take my Christmas away. No.
Determination goes a long way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I wonder, would you two like to just take a moment and just kind of share what you felt in each other's sharings? And I'll let Alexi throw it to you first if you'd like to. And also not just that, but anything else that's coming up. Like, is there anything else that's present for you that you really like to share right now, Alexi?
The strength, the power of the human spirit. Like I mentioned before, if you think you can, you're right. If you think you can't, you're also right. And so there's that inner purpose, that inner drive that's compelling you to be victorious. I mean, I never thought in a million years that I would then turn around and be teaching people about this. But it's been something I've thoroughly enjoyed for the last 20 plus years. And now I'm sort of on a little bit of a tangent, but still related, because I love changing people's lives, empowering them, giving them tools, being an inspiration, just like Cheri has been, on her journey as well.
Oh.
And when I grow up, can I just be Alexi? Yeah, because then I'll get back into the cooking stuff too. It's amazing how things just did come together. You say you don't know how it happens, and it just did. And we shared so much of the same story and so many of the same lines. And boy, I was cracking up behind stage. Once the jokes came out, I'm like, this is it. See, this is why we're here, because the world needs more laughter. We've had enough frowns, I think, to last everybody's lifetime. And so that's what I appreciate about Alexi so much, is that vibrance that she brought in, and the importance of what she does. We cannot touch enough people, with this broadcasting the way that it does. There's relatable. I mean, look at the four of us here. This diverse screen that's in front of me right now is amazing. It will touch somebody. It will gravitate towards somebody, whether you're younger, you're somewhere in between, you're in your rewirement years. We don't retire, we rewire. And we get to go about and have this, and sharing so much of what is going to make the difference, even if just one piece of what Alexi has said today, or what I've said today, or either one of you gentlemen have said today, sinks in and makes someone else have a different decision for the day. We won. We definitely won in this game of life.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's so beautiful to hear both of you share. Again, we couldn't plan it better if we tried. These dots get connected, these themes develop, and it's what I'm hearing is like, even in the face of adversity, even with death literally knocking at your door, that doesn't mean we can't choose to lift others up, to bring laugh, to bring joy, to empower others, to not let somebody else tell us that we can't live or we can't see this next Christmas, and it's just it's really inspiring on so many levels, and I'm just so thrilled and inspired by both of you. So thank you both.
So to life cheerleaders, yes.
Yeah,
I told you I would.
Yeah, I love it.
And I have a request. I feel like I'd be doing the world a disservice if I did this question. So, Alexi, before we say goodbye to you two, would you close us out with one of your what's your favorite joke you've discovered in the last week and a half?
Okay, this one. There's a gentleman sitting in an airport waiting room, and across the aisle from him is a beautiful woman. And so he strikes up a conversation and says, "Can I buy you a drink?" And she says, "Oh yeah, that would be lovely." So he brings her drink, and they continue talking, and he says, "Do you mind me asking, are you on business trip or on pleasure?" And she said, "Oh, no, business." She said, "I'm the president of the Nymphomaniac Society of the World." And he goes, "Oh, really?" And she says, "And I'm traveling the world to find out where the sexiest men are." And so what have you found? The sexiest men on the planet by far are the North American Indians. Really? And who would be number 2? The Jews. "Oh, and excuse me, sir, what is your name?" "Hiawatha Goldstein."
Classic.
Thank you.
Well, Cheri, I know you have to.
I actually have to run. I have a client waiting for me for a session. Therapy is important. Heal the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's
So
right.
I apologize, because my joke probably wouldn't have been appropriate for live streaming anyway. So we'll save that one. I'll have to come up with a clean set.
No,
Thank you so much.
No, we don't censor ourselves here. No, we're not. Share it.
Share next time. Right?
Next
Yeah,
time,
next
yes. I thank you so much. Again, I appreciate you so much, and off to the patients I go.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Sherry.
Aloha.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Aloha.
Goodbye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice meeting you
Thank
too.
you. Thank you both. Thank you, Alexi. Thank you so much. It's really a joy and an inspiration to know you are out in the world just bringing joy and happiness to people, sharing your jokes. And that's, and I love it how you summed it up with that Robin Williams quote. It's really we get to make people a little happier. We get to bring people a little laughter that they wouldn't have otherwise. And it's,
That's right.
some of us take our lives and our circumstances too seriously when we can always be the source. It doesn't cost anything. We can always be the source of a laugh or a smile for ourselves and for others. And that's who you are and who you're embodying. And it makes me feel encouraged and inspired that that's who you are and that you're sharing with us.
Oh, well, thank you. It certainly is my pleasure. And I'm so grateful to be able to share on such a great platform. So it's been delightful.
Maybe we can arrange it so that you and Sherry actually get to come back together again, and we can dive more into your stories, because it kind of feels like you two can play off of each other quite a bit.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Do a stand-up section. So
I know.
Every
Well,
5 minutes.
yeah, I know. Well, I didn't want to be a stand-up comedian, so this was my second choice, I guess you could say.
Well, and it will be a sit-down comedian instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. And just don't forget that two M&Ms are having a conversation, and they're very excited because they know when they grow up they're going to be smarties.
Oh.
I love it. Thank you so much again, Alexi.
My pleasure. Thank you.
We'd love to have you back soon and
Oh, for
share
sure.
some more jokes with us.
Absolutely. And just keep smiling.
Can't stop, especially when you're sharing and telling your jokes. So,
until next time. Aloha.
Yeah.
until next time.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Alexi.
Okay.
And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. It's been a pleasure to have you. I want to just give you an opportunity to be on our stage, to share your gifts, your jokes, your stories, and your wisdom. On the bottom of the screen, there's a link for you to be a guest on our stage here, onedaymvmt.org/share my gift. And this is an invitation. No matter who you are, what you've dealt with, or what you're dealing with, we want to hear you and your story and your unique gifts, because you can make someone else laugh. You can bring someone else happiness and joy. That's, this is a power we all have uniquely. No matter what we're dealing with, we have that power and that choice right now. That's part of what our mission here at One Day is, bringing you and me and communities together in joyous celebration, unifying humanity in our diversity to create a better world for us all. And this is part of what our mission, our vision is humanity's rising in a connected world. Each person's unique gifts, genius, and contributions being valued and magnified through a higher level of collaboration, producing unprecedented new realms of possibility. Thank you so much for joining us. Thanks again to Alexi and Cheri. We'll see you all next week. I love you all. Be safe, be well. And as always, one day is today.